Hi, I'm Hannah, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about making a grocery list to go grocery shopping. So, let's go grocery shopping. So, the first thing that we want to think about is all about planning. So, going to the grocery store can be overwhelming, but we want to make sure that you have a good plan and that you stick to it. So, we want to first of all think about where you're writing your grocery list. Because sometimes I get it, you're in a rush, you write it on a receipt or a spare piece of notebook paper, and it could get lost. And the worst thing, in my opinion, is when I show up to the grocery store and I've forgotten my list. You just don't have a clue of what you're getting, you forget items, you get things you didn't need. So, my suggestion would be, this is what I use, and kind of depending on maybe how many people you're shopping for. This one is really small, it's got a magnet on the back, so I just stick it to my refrigerator so I always know where it's at. Or you could go for more of a notebook option if you have a bigger list or family that you're shopping for. So the thing I like about this is you can work on your list throughout the week, so it's not so overwhelming when you sit down to do your grocery list. So if you're shopping, say, for a whole week, that could be a long time that you're using all of your ingredients and you may forget what you've run out of. So like I said, I keep this one on my fridge, and like I ran out of ketchup yesterday, so I would write on my list ketchup because I just went to the store, so the next time I'll remember that that's what I needed. So that's a great way to keep up with those staple items that you always like to keep on hand. So that is kind of a general thing to keep in mind throughout your week. But when you sit down and you think, okay, I'm ready for my grocery shop and let's get planning. So take a tour of what you already have. Go through your pantry, all of your cupboards, your refrigerator, your freezer, and see what you have. Do you have items that could go towards a meal? Maybe you have some frozen vegetables, or you have some pasta sauce in your fridge that could maybe go towards a pasta dish or a pizza. Just take note of what you have. You can write it down if you'd like, or just take a mental note. And that way, whenever you think of the meals that you would like to plan, you're buying less because you already have those items. So after you take stock of what you have, think of your meals. So this is when you think, okay, how many days am I planning for? How many meals am I planning for? How many people? So say you're going for a whole week and you decide that you will be making 10 meals. So you could write down every meal that you're gonna have, or getting basic ingredients to make your meals. It's totally up to you, whatever method is best for you. So I like to say, when you're making your meal, try to include protein, vegetable, and a starch, especially for those lunch and dinner meals. That way you have a nice balanced meal and you're getting all the ingredients that you need to make your meals. So once you come up with your meals, add any items that you may need that you didn't already have. And remember to include things like sauces, your condiments, flour, seasonings. So whether you are looking up recipes online or using, your traditional recipes, just go through and make sure you have all those items so you don't start preparing your meal and then realize that you've forgotten something at the store. So once you have your list made, make sure you're double checking your list for all your items, and be specific when you're writing your list. Don't just say, apples, beans, carrots. Make sure you write 2 cans of beans, 5 apples. That way you get to the store and you know exactly what you need to get. Also, don't be afraid to use some of the same ingredients. If you have to make 5 different meals, don't feel like you have to use 5 different protein options. You could use chicken 2 or 3 times, you could use beef a couple times, or beans. So you don't have to have, a fancy new thing every time. And that really helps save with cost, waste, if you're able to buy something in a little bit more bulk and use it multiple times, but just switch up how you prepare it or season it. So a little note on getting organized. And if it's helpful for you, then great. And if it's not, do it how you would like. But sometimes it's helpful to kind of visualize the store that you normally shop at and write your ingredient or your list based on the kind of layout of the store. That way your list isn't one thing in produce, one thing in dairy, another thing in produce, one thing in the packaged section. That can just help whenever you get to the store, you're not so overwhelmed and not looking all around your list. If that's not helpful for you, or if that feels like an unnecessary step, then feel free to skip it. Make sure you gather any coupons that you have. If you get coupons from the newspaper, or some stores will give you coupons after you shop, those are always helpful. So anything on your list that you have a coupon for, make sure you take it. I like to kind of paper clip mine to my list so I don't forget it. Check that list again before you finish it up, just to make sure that you have everything. You have all the number of things that you need, and anything that you already had, make sure you leave that off the list so you don't buy extra. So as far as going to the grocery store, once you've made your list, you feel prepared, always remember, don't shop hungry, because we end up buying things that we don't need. We can get frustrated because we're hungry. So always make sure that you have eaten your meal or your snack, or you take a snack with you. That way you just avoid buying things that you didn't plan on buying. So take in your list, tear your paper out of your notebook, or if you're keeping a notebook like this, you may want to keep your list to look back on if that's helpful for you. But take your list and take a pen or pencil so you can mark things off as you go, or a highlighter would work too. That way you're really saving time and energy when you go to the store, because there's nothing worse than spending forever at the store and you're exhausted by the time you leave. So when you're keeping track of the things that you're getting, that can be really helpful in saving time when you're shopping. So another thing on organization, I talked about visualizing the store as you're writing your list. And you really want to try to move in the store in kind of an organized and methodical way. So you're not darting all around the store looking for your items. And sometimes that can be tough if you're shopping at a new store and maybe they have a different layout. But if you have a store that you always go to, try to plan where you're going. That way you, again, are saving the energy and the time and the frustration. So 2 approaches that you could take. You could shop the entire perimeter of the store and then go to the middle and kind of, zigzag in and out of the aisles. Or if you wanted to start on one side and just move completely to the other side, that would be an option as well. It's really whatever you prefer, but I do suggest having some kind of methodical way of moving throughout the store. So now you have made your list, you've made it to the store, you've gone through the store, and hopefully you remember those coupons when you're checking out. And then the only thing left to do is go home and put your groceries away and get to cooking. So some tips that I'll leave you with. Remember, have a plan and stick to it. Avoid shopping when you're hungry. That's always a big one for me. I always end up with way too many things that I did not plan on getting if I go to the store hungry. Make the food that you plan to make, whether you made specific meals for specific days or just ideas that you wanted to try out. That way you're not wasting the food that you put all that effort and money toward to buy. And feel free to be creative. If you want to stick to all your normal recipes, that's great. Or you could try doing 1 or 2 new recipes a week. So get creative, use your ingredients, use what you already have, and good luck.